direct, and you find yourself hanging on each person's words as they reveal their true nature. Now, as far as the conflicts that are in this movie, again, this is another kind of triangular situation for our lead. Anna is dealing with her own issues, and she's also dealing with the Simeon's crime family. She is battling her own personal demons of things that have hurt her in the past very deeply, but she's also fighting against her family as she's trying to overcome some traumatic issues in her past. So there's a lot going on as she is also trying to help uncover this mystery revolving around the crime family. Nikolai has his own conflicts with the family as he is himself constantly trying to prove himself to Simeon and others. And Kirill, he's got his own conflicts because he's a daddy's boy, trying to prove himself as a viable leader of the family and also just trying to be like a tough guy. So there's a lot going on there as far as all these characters go. Now, the plot type to me, I thought was, it fell into the category of a why done it. The focus of the story kind of focuses around the death of a young girl. And so there's a mystery against this backdrop of this organized crime family and its own drama. Now, clues are revealed as to who she was and, why she got hooked into this family. But the other question is like, what happened to her as this progression occurred? From a thematic standpoint, I thought that there was two major themes in here. One was a redemptive theme. The other one was more about justice. I thought Anna, who is still holding on to the scars of the traumatic event that happened to her, she's looking for a reason to keep pushing on, to kind of keep believing in the good of people and to continue focusing on her career. The justice piece, I thought, revolved around, avenging the death of this young girl. Now, the question is, who's doing the avenging? Who's going to provide the justice? Is it going to be Anna? Is it going to be the police? Is it going to be Anna's friends? Is it going to be the girl's friends? Somebody has to, come to pay the piper for the atrocities that were committed, in regards to this crime. So it's just a matter of trying to figure out, who is going to be the administrator of said justice. The structure of the film, I thought, was extremely well balanced. In the first act, we're introduced to Anna and the crime family. In the second act, we learn about the girl's death. About midway through, things get complicated as the family begins to deal with its own drama. And then finally, in the third act, the opportunity to bring the killer to justice is presented. So, and I thought the epilogue was fantastic. So the film resolves itself in a very, very satisfying manner. At least that's what I thought. That's me. Other people may think differently. Now, the director for this is the legendary David Cronenberg. Man, if you don't know who David Cronenberg, man, all I have to say is one film. Really two films. Really three films. Scanners, The Fly, and Videodrome. I mean, I think he also did The Dead Zone. He was also responsible for another movie I think I'm going to look at pretty soon. It was called Crash. Not the Crash that won the Oscar awards with, Tandy Newton and all these other actors who were in it. Loretta Devine and who else was in that? Who was in that movie. But this movie is called Crash, and it's about car crash victims who use their accidents and the raw sexual energy to rejuvenate their sex lives. And I'll just leave that there, and you can kind of, think about that. So, I mean, this guy is, he is a master at mind-bending film themes and completely pushing the envelope. But the difference is in Eastern Promises, I thought this film was more about the examination of depravity and the mindset of human traffickers and the soulless separation of heart and mind that has to occur in order for people to hold others in such abusive bondage. I mean, this guy really taps into the detachment of civil behavior in order to see these individuals operate this crime family. So Cronenberg does a good job with this. What worked? The accents, the story, a mystery, the backdrop of the crime family, using the girl's voice as she read a series of journal entries was a really, really a nice touch. And I thought it really made you feel empathy and wonder what happened to her. Okay. Those voice drops always occur at the most precise times in the film, and I thought really provided some great impact. What didn't work? Nothing. As far as I know, the story was fantastic. I mean, there were a few plot points that were a little bit confusing that I wish were a little bit better fleshed out. But other than that, man, I thought the movie was fantastic. Now, it is rated R because there is graphic violence. There is a sex scene. And there's some frontal nudity. And let me speak about that for a quick second. Here, Viggio Mortenson gets nominated for an Oscar for this role and for what he did in Green Book. All right. and he didn't win. However, according to the Alliance of Women Film Journalists in 2007, he did win the award for the most unforgettable moment in Eastern Promises for a scene showcasing Viggio Mortenson's full frontal. I don't think nothing else needs to be said. I wonder if male journalists have an award for a woman's full frontal. I'm just saying, let me stop. Aristotle Index, 0. There are no unconvincing possibilities or convincing impossibilities. This movie is flat out perfect. IMDb gave it a very, very high 7.6. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a smoking 89%. The audience came in just as high with 83%. Myself, personally, on the Cinema and Cocktails rating, I gave it a 5 out of 5. I thought it was a perfect movie. I thought the performances were beyond stellar. The accents, the believability of Viggio is so convincingly done. The violence is accurately done. The behind the curtains. I mean, when you get a look at what goes on behind the curtains of the Russian mob. I mean, we've seen, black gangster movies, Italian gangster movies, the cartels, the narcos, all that kind of stuff. But it was kind of neat to see something different with a Russian mob. All 5 emotions are evoked when you watch this movie. There are moments of depression and anger and sadness. But at the end of it all, there is love and there is hope. And that's what makes Eastern Promises such a powerful film. Now, before this movie even got started, I pretty much knew exactly what I wanted to drink. And it actually was a throwback to an old Eddie Murphy movie from way, way back in the day. For those who might remember, way back in 48 Hours, that scene when he went into like that country western bar, and he always tried to order a drink, and the guy turned around and said, how about a black Russian? Eddie Murphy was like, a black Russian, and started laughing. So I automatically started thinking to myself, what exactly is a black Russian? Because I had never had a black Russian. So I was like, you know what? That's going to be the drink for this movie, a black Russian. How do you make a black Russian? Easy. 1.5 ounces of vodka and a 1/2 ounce of any type of coffee flavored liqueur. Now, probably the more popular ones are Kahlua and Tia Maria. Real easy. All you do is pour the ingredients into an old fashioned glass with some ice cubes and you stir. And that's it. Now, what exactly does a black Russian taste like? Well, it pretty much tastes like, sweetened coffee. That's what Kahlua and Tia Maria taste like. So the vodka really doesn't add much taste, on its own. So again, it basically just tastes like sweetened coffee. Now, if you want to, you can kind of adjust the ingredients. If you like, you can make it a little bit sweeter by adding some Kahlua. You could also make it a little bit stronger by adding a little bit more vodka. The variation of the White Russian, made famous by the Big Lebowski, is that you just added some cream to the Kahlua and, there's your White Russian. But to me, the Black Russian really captures the essence of Nikolai, Viggio's character in Eastern Promises. Deep, dark, mysterious, and intense. And God said, "Let there be vodka." And he saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let there be light." And he said, "Whoa, too much light." Yes, this was definitely a vodka episode. And hopefully you enjoyed not just the, suggestions for Russian mob movies, Eastern Promises and Transsiberian, but hopefully you enjoyed the Moscow Mule and the Black Russian. Or if you decided to make it a white Russian, that's fine. That's fine. Not that there's anything wrong with it. Black Russians, white Russians. Hey, we love all Russians. This is an equal opportunity drinking chance. So, we welcome in drinks of all colors. As always, stay safe, enjoy yourself, and I will see you in a couple of days for the next episode.